It is a powerful reminder that ordinary voices can become extraordinary when they stand together for justice, dignity, equality, and positive change. Never underestimate the courage of people who peacefully raise their voices against injustice. History has repeatedly shown that determined people can challenge unfair systems and inspire generations to believe in a better future. Protest is the voice of those who refuse to remain silent when something is wrong. When people stand together with courage and purpose, their message can travel far beyond the streets and reach the conscience of society. Your voice may seem small when you speak alone, but when thousands stand together for a meaningful cause, that voice becomes a powerful force for change. Unity gives courage to those who are fighting for a better tomorrow. True strength is not always found in anger or confrontation. Sometimes it is found in peaceful resistance, patient determination, and the courage to continue speaking for justice even when the road toward change is difficult. A protest becomes meaningful when it carries hope rather than hatred, courage rather than fear, and a desire for justice rather than revenge. Real change begins when people demand a better world without losing their humanity. Stand for what you believe is right. The world has changed many times because people refused to accept injustice as something permanent and chose instead to speak, stand, and work for a better future. A peaceful protest carries a message that cannot easily be forgotten. People deserve to be heard, treated with dignity, and given the opportunity to live in a society where fairness and equality are valued. Change rarely happens overnight. It is built through patience, courage, unity, and the determination of people who continue to stand for their principles even when their efforts seem difficult or unnoticed. The purpose of protest should not simply be to make noise. It should be to make people listen, think, and recognize the need for change. A powerful message can inspire hearts long after the protest has ended. When people peacefully stand together, they remind the world that silence is not the only choice. A courageous voice can challenge injustice, encourage dialogue, and open the door to a future where everyone is treated with respect. Never think that your voice does not matter. Every meaningful movement begins with someone who decides that staying silent is no longer acceptable and chooses to speak with courage, wisdom, and hope. Protest is a reminder that society is never finished. When people recognize injustice and peacefully demand improvement, they become part of the continuous effort to create a fairer, kinder, and more responsible world. Stand firmly for justice, but never forget compassion. The strongest movements are those that defend important principles while remembering the humanity of everyone involved. A peaceful protest can turn frustration into hope and silence into conversation. When people unite around a meaningful cause, they demonstrate that courage can inspire change without abandoning respect and dignity. The road to change may be long, but every step taken with courage has meaning. Do not measure your contribution only by immediate results. Sometimes the seeds planted today become the inspiration for tomorrow's transformation. When people refuse to accept unfairness as normal, they create an opportunity for progress. Courageous voices can remind leaders, communities, and future generations that justice should always remain worth pursuing. Your protest may not change everything in one day, but your courage can encourage another person to speak, another person to listen, and another person to believe that a better future is possible. Peaceful resistance is powerful because it demonstrates that determination does not require hatred. You can be firm in your principles while still choosing respect, patience, and hope as your path toward change. Every generation has moments when it must decide whether to remain silent or stand for what it believes is right. Those who choose courage can become part of a story that inspires others for years to come. Do not let fear convince you that your voice is powerless. History is filled with examples of ordinary people whose courage, persistence, and peaceful determination helped bring attention to problems that society could no longer ignore. The greatest purpose of protest is not destruction but transformation. It is about identifying what needs to change, bringing attention to injustice, and encouraging society to build something better in its place. You may face criticism, doubt, or discouragement. Keep your purpose clear, remain peaceful, and remember that meaningful change often requires patience before its results become visible. A strong voice does not need to be cruel to be heard. Speak with courage, stand with dignity, and let your commitment to justice demonstrate the kind of world you want to create. Protest reminds us that democracy and society grow stronger when people participate, express concerns, and peacefully demand accountability. Every responsible voice can contribute to a healthier and more just community. There will always be people who tell you that change is impossible. Do not let their doubt define your future. Many important changes began when someone dared to believe that impossible things could become possible. When people unite peacefully around a common purpose, their differences can become less important than the values they share. Unity, courage, and mutual respect can transform individual concerns into a powerful call for positive change. Never confuse peacefulness with weakness. It takes tremendous strength to remain disciplined, respectful, and determined while standing against something you believe is unjust. Protest can become a symbol of hope when it reminds people that they have the ability to influence the future. Change begins when individuals stop believing they are powerless and start believing their actions matter. The strongest movements are not built only on anger. They are built on vision. Know what you are standing for, understand the change you want to see, and let hope guide your determination. If something is unjust, do not simply accept it because it has existed for a long time. Speak thoughtfully, act peacefully, and encourage others to imagine a society where fairness is stronger than inequality. Courage is standing for your principles even when doing so is difficult. When that courage is combined with peace, wisdom, and unity, it can inspire meaningful conversations and create possibilities for lasting change. Your voice can become a light for someone who feels unheard. When you speak for fairness and dignity, you may never know how many people gain courage from seeing someone else refuse to give up. Do not measure the power of a protest only by its size. Sometimes a small group with a clear message can start a conversation that eventually changes the way an entire community thinks about justice and equality. When you stand for a cause, stand with purpose. Let your actions reflect the values you are defending, because the way you seek change can be just as important as the change you hope to achieve. The future belongs to those who are willing to believe that society can improve. Raise your voice against injustice, support peaceful dialogue, and continue working toward a world where every person's dignity matters.